Detective Lucas Morgan's funeral was held on a gray, drizzly afternoon, the kind that seemed to soak into the bones of everyone in attendance. His colleagues, friends, and family gathered at the cemetery, their hearts heavy with grief. Among them was Shadow, his loyal canine partner, who had stood by Lucas's side through thick and thin. The black German shepherd sat solemnly near the casket, his ears twitching occasionally as if listening for a sound only he could hear. Lucas had been a decorated officer, known for his sharp instincts and unwavering commitment to justice. His sudden death in a violent shootout with a notorious gang had left a deep wound in the police department. Shadow had been injured in the same incident, but had made a miraculous recovery. Now he was here, bidding farewell to the man who had been more than just a handler. He had been his best friend. As the priest spoke solemn words of remembrance, a sudden sharp bark cut through the silence. Shadow leapt to his feet, fur bristling, and let out a deep guttural growl. His eyes were locked onto the casket. He barked again, louder this time. The crowd murmured in confusion. Shadow had always been a disciplined dog, trained to remain calm in the most chaotic situations. But now he seemed frantic, almost desperate. "Easy, boy," one of the officers whispered, reaching for the dog's collar. But Shadow yanked himself free, rushing toward the casket and pawing at it aggressively. The police chief, an older man with years of experience under his belt, furrowed his brow. "Get the dog under control," he ordered. "This isn't the time for theatrics." But Shadow wouldn't stop. His barking turned into an urgent whine as he scratched furiously at the polished wood, his nails digging deep. Lucas's mother, Evelyn, clutched her chest. "What's wrong with him?" she asked, her voice trembling. Another officer, Sergeant Daniels, exchanged a wary glance with his colleagues. "I don't know," he said, "but I've never seen Shadow act this way before." A murmur spread through the crowd. Finally, Lucas's brother David took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Open it," he said. The police chief's eyes widened. "David, I understand your grief, but—" "Open it," David repeated firmly. "Something's not right." The hesitation in the air was palpable. After a long pause, the chief sighed and gave a reluctant nod. "Fine, but be prepared. The injuries were severe. It won't be easy to see." Two officers stepped forward and gripped the casket lid. Slowly they lifted it open. The moment they did, a collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Evelyn let out a blood-curdling scream and stumbled backward, clutching at her heart. David's face turned ashen. Officers immediately drew their weapons, eyes wide with horror. The man lying inside the casket was not Lucas Morgan. Shadow, now silent, sat down and wagged his tail slightly, as if satisfied his message had finally been understood. Chaos erupted. Officers scrambled to secure the area. Others frantically radioed the precinct. The funeral was called to an immediate halt as the police chief ordered an urgent investigation. Within hours, disturbing truths began to emerge. On the night of the shootout, 2 critically wounded officers had been brought to the hospital. One had succumbed to his injuries. The other had been placed in a medically induced coma. In the confusion, their identities had been switched. The overwhelmed, exhausted hospital staff had mistakenly declared Lucas dead, while his unconscious colleague, Officer Dean Hall, had been prepared for burial instead. Meanwhile, Lucas had been fighting for his life in a hospital bed, unaware the world had already mourned him. When officers rushed to the hospital to confirm the shocking revelation, they found Lucas still in a coma, his body slowly recovering from the trauma of his injuries. The realization sent waves of shock through the department. How had such a catastrophic mistake happened? Who had failed to verify the bodies properly? And, most importantly, how much time had been lost believing Lucas was dead? 2 weeks later, Lucas miraculously regained consciousness. Though weak, he was devastated to learn of his colleague's death, but overwhelmed with gratitude for Shadow, who had somehow known the truth all along. After months of rehabilitation, Lucas returned to the force. With Shadow at his side, more inseparable than ever, The department tightened its protocols to ensure such a mistake would never happen again. But to Lucas, the most important lesson was clear. Sometimes the bond between a man and his dog is stronger than any logic. If Shadow hadn't spoken up, he might have been lost forever. As the sun set over the cemetery, still thick with the echoes of shock and disbelief, one truth stood undeniable. Shadow had saved his partner yet again. What seemed like an ordinary funeral had unraveled into a revelation no one could have anticipated. The loyalty of a dog had shattered the veil of a tragic mistake, proving that sometimes instinct and devotion can uncover truths even the sharpest minds overlook. In the days that followed, Lucas Morgan's return from the dead became a story whispered in every precinct, a cautionary tale that highlighted the fragile nature of human error. The department launched an internal review. New protocols were enforced to prevent such misidentifications from ever happening again. The hospital staff, though remorseful, had to answer for their mistakes. It was a harsh reminder. In the chaos of emergency situations, a single lapse in judgment can change lives forever. But amidst the whirlwind of investigations, press coverage, and administrative reforms, one thing remained steadfast: Shadow's unwavering faith in his partner. The moment Lucas was strong enough to walk on his own, the first thing he did was kneel beside his loyal companion, running a hand through the thick black fur, whispering words of gratitude that could never fully encapsulate what the dog had done for him. Shadow, as always, simply wagged his tail, as if to say, "I knew you'd come back." Months later, Lucas returned to active duty, his bond with Shadow stronger than ever. Together they continued their mission to serve and protect. Their partnership now carried an unshakable legacy, a reminder that sometimes the greatest heroes walk on four legs. And that brings us to the end of this incredible story. If this tale moved you, if you felt the tension, the heartbreak, and the triumph, please support our channel by hitting the like button and subscribing. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more thrilling, emotional, and inspiring stories your way. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. Do you believe dogs have an extraordinary sixth sense? Share your thoughts and personal stories with us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.